Hello and welcome back. This is Rubix playing Planet Coaster. And we're back and we're going to be building our first themed area. Yes, this will be the first theme land in our alpha build of Planet Coaster. Don't want to reveal too much right now as I'm building it. We can see that we're building the entrance sign of the new area. Kind of experiment on billboards. I think this will probably already it'll probably already, what do you call that word? Reveal? Yeah, reveal what this whole land's gonna be about. But hopefully it won't reveal too much, as I'd rather like to continue talking about it in secret. But again, I am still in the experimental phase here. I have, of course, been playing a little bit more about this game for a while now. But in this stage in the game, I was still experimenting, didn't really know much about building. If you saw when I was building that billboard right there, I finally learned that if you place that, that quarter tile, or that quarter piece of the circular tower thing, you get like you subdivide the grid, which is really, really useful if you want to build, like, we're going to be a little bit more precise in building basically your buildings. But hopefully they do make one an option, at least during the alpha, or at least until the final game, where we can subdivide it even more rather than just placing an object there. Pretty sure it's just a glitch because of course, the alpha. But anyway, back to what we're building here. It looks like I wanted to make that our centerpiece. Not centerpiece, sorry. It's like a welcome building. Yeah, there you go. It's just really something to kind of introduce the guests that are coming in, what they're expecting in this land, and of course, without saying much, of course, it's a giant skyscraper. Well, not really giant, but at least just, you know, tall enough to be big enough to see, at least for the entrance of this area. Yeah, you can see it's the welcome building. But you can probably tell what I'm building as a theme for this area. Just gonna still save that for later until we get to actually building the queue there. I did something kind of pretty interesting dealing with the queue for that ride. But yeah, you can see I'm kind of like very, like, I don't really care if this is precise. Yeah, it's clipping through there. Yeah, it looks horrible, but I'm still gonna go with it. Again, yeah, I am only building as an experiment. So this is still me just experimenting with little pieces, little tools. And actually, this is really this whole part. Oh, hold on, you can see there, I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna cover up that hole. I really don't care, whatever, no one's gonna see it. But throughout this whole build, I really had no plans at what this was gonna look like at all. I knew about what pieces I was gonna use, just because there's only 2 sets. So I guess in my mind I was thinking, you know what, let's just go ahead and make 2 lands. I guess maybe the one land we're going to go ahead and experiment fully with the pieces to see what we can really do with them. But probably once we get to the 3rd land, the second alpha, with probably some new sets, will probably, you know, come into light. So probably the 3rd land, maybe even a 4th land might come into play here for my little alpha build park. But what we're looking at here is we are building, yes, we're building Sky Ace's entrance building, as you would say. Again, I am trying to make it very themed, like, you know, you are in this area, you can't really see anything else outside the area once you're in this land. Again, I really don't have a name for this land. I guess you can probably already tell that it's going to be kind of like a cityscape city area. Really was just inspired by that Sky Ace ride. I mean, like I said, the first reason why I didn't like to pick up this game was the themed rides. I was thinking, like, oh, it's going to be another one of those, you know, Roller Coaster Tycoon mobile, or no, not the mobile game. That's pretty bad enough. But like, what's that? Sim theme park. They had like these really ridiculous rides that don't even look like they're not even feasible in reality. And I was expecting those rides, like, oh god, they're making those kind of rides. But no, after seeing some of the development videos, they're actually building them to at least real world rides, but, you know, with the real world physics. They just themed it to their own way. Anyway, looks like this is the rather part that I was like, what was I gonna do with the inside of this this queue? I knew it was there's a city, so I was thinking maybe an inside of a building. That was boring. So I was like, wait a minute. I look at the wall signs, and some of them look like buildings when you turn it on its side, and then bing, genius, they look like buildings. Yes. So again, it's one of those awesome tools that we can use in Planet Coaster, that everything that you see in Planet Coaster can be used for anything, as long as you use your imagination. But but anyway, you could see what I was trying to do. You can see I tried to do little starlights in the background using the lights, and that didn't really work out anyway. But from what you can see so far, basically the queue, I guess, is like a miniature city. You'll see a little bit more. You can see on the walls, those are like the little skyscrapers off in the distance. You'll see it later eventually. Hopefully it'll come up soon so I can talk about it soon. And hopefully this will be synced. I've noticed that in the last one it wasn't synced properly. Hopefully this one will be a little bit more synced than the last time, so what I'll be saying will line up to what you actually see. So let's cross our fingers that that's actually working. But here we go. You see the white towers. I said, I can probably use these as miniature scale figures of buildings. I'm like, but they're too white. This one, I tried to differentiate there. You see the wooden building. I'm like, wait a minute. We have a little piece that we can use. And another genius moment. Yeah, we can use those little window slits and put it on the pillar. And bam, we have a miniature building right there. Another genius moment. Yay. Yay for Planet Coaster's awesome tool set. But sorry, yeah. I also like to use the buildings there for the pillars, I guess, for the support beams. For the building itself, you can see it actually in the queue. Hopefully it's lined up. We'll wait for that. Well, you can see it on the top left there. Hopefully this lines up to what I'm saying. But basically the buildings in the queue, I guess, also act kind of like pillars as well, as you can see. One more thing with those things, I don't even know why I put those in. They don't really kind of look like the miniatures, but I guess I knew it was going to be dark in here when it goes light, so I just wanted to find something just to light up the little area. It looks like we're already done finishing off what we're doing with this queue. Yeah, there we go. We're just going and closing it. And of course, since it's behind the scenes, I don't really care about the backstage area, so it's probably gonna look, I guess if you look from above, it's gonna look meh. Of course, my reasoning is if you're in like the guest view, as long as you don't see any of that, it's fine with me. So you'll see that a lot in my building, that I really only focus, there's the word. I focus more on what the guests will see, and I just leave the background to whatever. Sorry. But yeah, again, looks like we'll go ahead and we're back out in the area. At this stage, I still didn't know how I was gonna go ahead and kind of do the whole area. I was looking at some inspirations while building this, one of them of course being Times Square. You're gonna see a lot of billboards eventually, but it looks like I'm just trying to go ahead and cover up the queue building as best as I can here, just adding random buildings and whatnot. And then I came across another inspiration, a theme park inspiration as well. At Islands of Adventures, they have the what do you call that? Hero Island, which is Marvel, which is owned by Disney. I know that's a weird anomaly that we still have that, but it's just this legal jargon. That's why it's still there. But yeah, this just weirds me out how that's still there. How we still have Marvel at Universal, even though it's a Disney property now. Well, anyway, it's just legal jargon. I don't really know the whole reasoning for it. But let's go ahead and get back to our park. I don't know why I kind of segued into that. I guess I wanted to kind of talk about something else while we're going ahead and trying to figure out how do I cover up this plain-looking queue building. But yeah, it's Islands of Adventure, those tall buildings inside Marvel Land, let's just say. And another one, I don't want to get to it yet because, you know what, I'll just go ahead and say it. Because later on in this building, because I didn't really think of it until I saw how it worked. I'm like, oh, I could probably use it like this. But anyway, there's one other place, another universal area that kind of inspired me in this area, was the Springfield in Hollywood. And if you've never been there, go ahead and Google it. Google up Springfield, not the one in Orlando because it doesn't really show it that well. But if you Google the one in Hollywood, you'll notice that there's a facade, like a whole alley, not an alley, what am I saying? The street, and then on the, you know, where the Moe's Tavern and the, basically the food court is, there's a giant facade. It's kind of like, not forced perspective, but it's sort of like a mural, I guess. It's a weird thing where it's like, it's a facade and it looks like it's all of Springfield is just jumbled up into that like one wall. And then of course you can see like in the background, like the buildings upon buildings, like the, that's how you say it. Like behind Moe's Tavern, I think it was the prison. Yeah, I don't know, it's really hard to explain. You just have to look at it for yourself. But it's just buildings stacked upon buildings, and they kind of use forced perspective, and it kind of looks like it's in the distance, and you're going to see that. Hopefully soon, later in this video, you'll see that, oh, I can probably, you can see, I think I already did it, but I took out one of the small miniature buildings inside the queue, and I just copied it and took it out because I knew I was going to use it later. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, you can see it there. So I guess I did. Knew what I was doing afterwards. But yeah, you're going to see I'm going to be going down a lot, going down into guest perspective, making sure that it looks right, like that. Just making sure that this perspective is nice enough that it looks cluttered. Well, not really cluttered, but just busy enough to look interesting, I guess. Yeah, other than that, you're going to see me going down there in guest view. Oh, by the way, all the things here is just truly experimental. Again, I'm still experimenting. I didn't know what I was going to put in there. That's probably going to be erased soon. You can see I'll probably also try to make a, like a, what is it, like a garden thing. New York Garden, New York Park, Central Park. Ah, that's the one. Why do I keep losing my words? Here we go. There's the Central Park thing. I was just gonna make a little segue. It's probably gonna be like a walkway, probably just filled with benches. And then I guess I remember, oh, there's no benches in here, so there's really no point into building it. You can see I just went. You'll see soon. I'm building the fountain, just putting along some trees. And I'm like, you know what? This is dumb. I'm not gonna do this. Never mind. Forget it. So I just went ahead and focused back onto the buildings. Yeah, a lot of going back and forth on different things. I don't like really focusing on one thing. I guess when I'm bored, I just go ahead and move on to the next one. But hopefully we can go back, or we can go ahead and can see that we're gonna go ahead and back and what do you call that? Fill up. There we go. Fill up the back portion here, so we can get a little bit more detail in the background. That other trick where you use the roofing thing, where you move it up and down. What was it? Yeah, when you place the roof, like you can clip the building's walls into each other, so I guess you can get different height differences. Oh, here we go. I think I'm going to be using a billboard again as another building, as we used in the queue area. So I guess that's another forced perspective thing that I'll be using here. Using one of the longer, I guess taller billboards to use as a forced perspective thing. It makes it look like a giant building that's off in the distance, at least in a forced perspective kind of way. I think it's coming up soon. Here we go soon. I know I'm piling up some more junk here, making sure that it looks a little bit more filled up. Yeah, adding more billboards. You can't have enough billboards. I'm trying to make it more, I guess, more interesting to look at. It looks more neon, Blade Runner almost looking. But there are a few more ideas. Hopefully they will fit in to the look of this whole cityscape themed land. Of course, there's going to be a roller coaster in this area too. Think of, I guess to spoil a little bit, the roller coaster in New York, New York. I guess that's going to be an inspiration for the roller coaster that's going to appear here in this land. But yeah, you can see that I used those buildings, that big giant orange building. It kind of looks like a skyscraper just jutting out from within that pile of buildings. Well, it looks like I'm going ahead and just doing my ADHD thing again, just going off and building something else, just finishing off, I guess, that entrance area, closing it off, I guess, as like that little, what do you call it? Sidewalk, blockway, yeah, whatever. And the last thing here, I guess I made like a little viewing area there. You'll see eventually that'll make a tall, not tall, well, that's not very tall, like the entrance, the show ride? No, the sign. What? I'm losing my words. The sign for the ride is gonna be right there. Again, I really like. I guess I really like that idea of using the signs as buildings, and you'll see that in the ride sign. But really, other than that, it looks like I just went ahead and copied and paste. Oh, I love the copy and paste tool. Oh, just trying to cover it all up makes it so much easier than just trying to build, like, you know, individual pieces. But yeah, I just use that just to copy and paste all the buildings, just to surround the ride, just give it more of an immersion type thing. Looks like I'm putting in a hat stall now. You know, just a little, you know, after the ride, you know, just something to tempt the guests to go ahead and buy something after riding an awesome ride. You know, the normal type of theme park money grab. But anyway, yeah, adding a few more. Looks like we're adding a few more billboards just to make it look a little more interesting, so we're not stuck with that whole black window look. You know, that's, again, we're only working with 2 sets here, so I'm just trying to improvise and trying to use as many pieces as I can. And of course, that is the goal here with the alpha build, that we're just going to try and use practically all the pieces as much as we can with our park here, at least with the 2 sets that we have. But it looks like we're almost done here. Just trying to, you know, close out any gaps that we see. Unfortunately, you can see this experimental building I was doing. Again, we don't have the whole grouping of other objects, so I couldn't really do that. So I guess I just kind of improvised again and got saved by the whole quarter tile subdividing the grid, and we have this awesome place to put that. There we go. Yeah, that awesome place to put that miniature thing, so we have a little bit more what do you call it, variety, there we go, in our buildings here, so that they're not all the same height. You can see I'm just going ahead and copying and pasting, putting them in different heights, making it all look interesting. And finally, of course, the one that I've been talking about is the ride sign. You can see again I'm using the signs for buildings, and of course the last thing it needs is the Sky Ace sign, which is right there. And I think I tried to light it a little bit. Let's see here, yeah. Just trying to experiment with a few lights, see which one works best. I'm hoping eventually we can have, I guess, like light intensity for the when we have like at least a new, well, when we update the alpha or something, so we can have the light intensity, maybe a few more lights options. Probably even like instead of having those multiple lights, you can see like all those different colors are there. Maybe we could just have one light and just have the option to change it using you know, like a color picker. That would make it a lot easier and a lot more versatile. But yeah, anyway, I'm just rambling on for more of my wish list. But it looks like we're almost about done here. Looks like I just finally finished the encircling the whole ride with the buildings. I guess right now I'm just going ahead and adding a few more billboards. I guess a few more buildings as well, just to differentiate a little bit more. And then finally we just added with all these neon looking signs, just to give it a little bit more interest around the ride. You know, it's starting to look a little bit more like Tokyo to me. I know, I started with like an inspiration from Times Square, which does have a lot of billboards. I'm really getting more of like a Neo Tokyo kind of look. Really like Vegas, I guess. Yeah, it looks a little bit more like Vegas too, but yeah, you know, I just wanted to try and make things look more interesting looking. Hopefully that came out through very well. Looks like we're almost done. Just trying to go ahead and put one more billboard here just for Hats Fantastic. Yeah, looks like we're almost about done here. Well, thanks again for watching, you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys like about this. Maybe we'll go ahead and go back to a more traditional way of recording my stuff here. More than likely we're going down that. But anyway, thanks a lot, you guys. We'll see you guys in the next video.